It isn't your job to keep other people comfortable. Unless you're getting paid like an actual salary to do that, it's not your job. When it comes to making changes in our lives, and these can be small changes like cutting our hair or taking on a new hobby, or larger changes like moving to another country, changing career paths, ending a long term relationship. A lot of us depend on the opinions of other people to help us inform decisions that we'll need to make for our own lives. And while I think it's important to have a support system that can help you find clarity in moments of uncertainty, that can remind you of who you are, I don't believe that it's anyone else's responsibility to tell you what to do with your life. And you should never give that power over to anyone. You are responsible for your life. You are responsible for your choices. You can shop around and ask people's opinions, and you can take their opinions and their judgment with a grain of salt. But then ultimately, it's up to you. As we get older and become more in touch with our inner voice and in trusting our inner knowing, our intuition, God, whatever you want to call it, it becomes a lot easier to make decisions without needing to consult with other people. It truly does, because you feel it, and so you know it's right for you or not. But I think something that holds a lot of us back from making changes in our lives that we really desire and probably need is our fear of the perception other people will have of us if we change. It's your responsibility to create the narrative that you want to have for your life. It's your responsibility to author it and to edit it and even to shred it up and start completely over. That is your responsibility. Their perception of what you do in your life and the choices that you make have nothing to do with you. People will project what they're doing for themselves, their choices, their lifestyle. They will project a mindset onto you. And so when you are asking people for their opinions, what they're really doing is they're giving advice. And a lot of times it is, well-intentioned advice, but they're giving you advice that is filtered through their own lens. And a lot of times our narratives, our internal narratives, aren't really aligned with our external narratives and the external narratives of others, and oftentimes the internal narratives of others. So why do we rely so heavily on how other people will perceive us when it comes to making choices for ourselves? We value the opinions of other people because we love them. We care about what they think of us, our loved ones at least. So, for example, our parents. We never want to disappoint our parents. We want to make choices that will make them proud. We want that validation from them. And I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. At the end of the day, we're humans. We're social creatures. We are not meant to live alone in this world. We are meant to have community and build community with people. We're meant to have these relationships that challenge us, that motivate us, that change us. And there's nothing wrong with, I guess, considering how other people may feel about a decision. But when it comes time to making that decision, the only person's opinions and feelings that matter are yours. A lot of the people that we love, although they have good intentions, they will take what they've experienced and project it onto you. And while I think it's important to understand other people's stories, because I do think it helps us really decide the type of lives we want to live. Like, if I hear a story from a parent that's like, you should get a prenup because I didn't, and now look at what happened to me and my finances. I'm going to listen to that. I'm going to hear that. I will take it with a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, what I want to do in my marriage with my partner is completely separate from what happened to you. But I can still hear your experience, and I can take the nuggets of wisdom that resonate. But I will not make your experience my experience. When I was younger, I never really dreamed of marriage, honestly. I never really saw myself, having the big wedding with the dress, and like, I never even saw myself having a family. Like, I really thought I was going to be that hot, rich aunt with a banging body who just like spoils her nieces and nephews or her cousins or whatever, and traveled. Like, that was literally all that I ever wanted. And I remember having that conversation with my mom, who was a single mom. And she was like, it's okay to want marriage and to want kids and like a family in that way. And I was like, well, you didn't really have that. And I'm really proud of that, because it showed me that I can be this strong, independent woman, and I can still have kids, and I can still have a life that I love, and I don't have to like settle for anyone or anything. Like, I can take care of myself. And she was like, that is, my story, but that doesn't need to be your story. It's your life, and we're different people. We're not the same people. So it's going to look different. So don't like put yourself out of the game before you've even tried to play it, basically. And that was a really eye-opening experience for me, because I have always been someone who cares deeply about like the opinions of people that I respect. Okay, so whether that's my elders or like really close friends who I feel like really know me, and who I admire and respect, obviously. So hearing that from like the person that I probably respect the most in my life was jarring and also really freeing, because it made me think about the narratives that we create for ourselves. And a lot of times these narratives tend to mirror what we've seen our loved ones experience. We assume because this terrible thing happened to this person, it's going to happen to me. And that's not necessarily true. We have the opportunity today to decide our destiny. We get to put the intentions out there, and we get to take action and create the lives that we want. And we get to change our lives whenever we want to. And I mean, obviously, like, there are going to be certain circumstances that aren't that easy to change with the drop of a hat, but you know what I mean. You can change your mind about the direction of your life at any time. You really can. You can change your mind. You can always change your mind. So at the end of the day, what really matters is your perception of yourself and your own life. You don't need permission from other people on how to live your life, because you know what you want to do with your life. You know how you want to live it. And a lot of us may think we don't know, but deep, 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 deep down inside, it's buried down there. You do know. I promise you, you do know. There's just a lot of social conditioning and a lot of people's opinions that we have to shed in order to find that truth. But you've always known. When we value the perception of other people over our own, and we actively follow what other people think that we should be doing, we are delaying our blessings and we're delaying our destiny. We truly are. You know, in my video that's called They Want You to Shut Up, Don't, a lot of you really liked that video. And in that video, I got pretty vulnerable about my experience with my last job. And it makes me think about just like my entire career trajectory and how I've always just been trying to find the thing that aligns with me. Every time I would like have some sort of break between jobs or even during working those jobs, I would always have this hobby on the side. And the hobby was either YouTube or podcasting. But most of the time it was YouTube. And it's crazy because when I was younger, like all I wanted to do was YouTube. Like that was my dream. And there came a point earlier this year when I was doing my YouTube, I had just like stopped. I was like, I need to give up on this dream. Like, it's not realistic. You know, I would talk to people around me and they'd be like, yeah, like, you know, this career path that you're on right now, this is stable. This is consistent. Like, there's no real guarantee with YouTube, but like this right here, this industry is going to always be needed. So you will always technically have a job and that security that comes with that. And I ended up basically killing my dream of having a YouTube channel based off of a lack mindset, for one, but also I was looking for other people to validate what I was feeling in that moment. When what I really should have done was sat with myself and really think about, is this something that I really want? Is this something that I really want to try for? It's interesting because on one hand, the people that we love are trying to protect us a lot of the time, but only we know what's best for us. And even if in the moment you don't, the fact that you're going to try and figure it out, that's the best thing that you can do for yourself because it builds trust in yourself and it allows you to tap into the power, which is your intuition that exists inside of you that's going to help guide you for the rest of your life. So I say all of this to say that we are constantly changing, we are constantly evolving, and people's perception of your change and the new version of yourself that you're stepping into is none of your goddamn business. Like, it's truly none of your business. People will always want you to continue to play the role in their narrative that they feel is who you are. This year, I've learned so much about myself. And girl, when I tell you I learned a lot, like it was like every other week there was a lesson. There was so much healing that happened this year and I'm so grateful for all of it. It's been really transformative. But the biggest lesson that I learned was that at some point I had to stop playing into the narrative and playing into this role that other people had established for me in their own lives. Ever since I was a kid, I've always been like a healer, a nurturer, a mediator, the peacekeeper, whatever you want to call it. And because that's something that I'm naturally good at, I found myself in roles in my career where that was a part of the job. And after this last experience, I realized like I don't claim that responsibility anymore. Like, I'm no longer claiming responsibility for being everything to everyone. Like, it's not my job to nurture every single person that comes into my life. It's just not my job to hold space for every single person. Like, I physically cannot anymore, like energetically, spiritually, mentally, like I cannot do it anymore. And this has come as a shock to a lot of people in my life who were so used to me making myself available to them, making myself so accessible, always being, you know, a listening ear. And for a while, I still tried to play into the narrative because I knew that that's what I was valued for. But now I no longer claim that narrative. I only have capacity to truly show up and be there for my family, myself, most importantly, myself, and those closest to me. Like, I really have nothing to give right now. And this experience has been so amazing and so empowering in a lot of ways, because I realize, like, I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do. And I am the master of my life with God, obviously. And I choose my truth, and I choose who I get to be, because this is my fucking life. I don't need to be anyone's support that I don't want to be. I don't even need to be a character in your life. I don't. Because I don't have to. Because I don't want to. It's my choice. So, through this experience, I've lost friends along the way, but it's created so much more space for me to give all of my energy back to myself. Yes, I've lost people because they were upset that I'm no longer easily accessible, and I am not going to overextend myself, and I am not going to create emotional space for you to just vent and not want to solve your own problems. I don't have it. I don't have the capacity for that anymore. Does that mean that I'm not going to still be a friend and show up? No, I will. But when I have capacity to do that. Because what I used to do was, regardless of if I had capacity, everyone else's needs became before my own. And that can no longer be my narrative, because it was actually killing me. Like, actually killing me. And it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So I say all of this to say that their perception of you is none of your business. You live your life in the way that feels the most authentic and true to you. And if that means one day you're living in New York City as like a stockbroker or something, and the next you move to Peru and you now own a farm with horses and shit, God bless you. Live your life. Do what feels right to you. Follow your inner guide. Just remember that in order to become the person you want to be, you will have to release the person that you once were. And sometimes that means releasing old relationships that are no longer serving you or that are no longer aligned with you. Sometimes that means leaving jobs. Sometimes that means moving to another state. Sometimes that means leaving relationships, like romantic relationships, cutting people off. You have to do what works for you. And when you choose yourself and when you choose growth and evolution, the universe will find a way to just weed stuff out that's not even meant to be there. Like, I haven't really had conversations with people where I'm like, oh, I'm not, like, I just don't really feel like this is aligned. I just, like, it's like the universe just removed them. Like, there was no conversation. Like, I just haven't heard from them in God knows how long. And I feel like that's God creating space in my life for that much more, and for new beginnings, new opportunities that are more aligned with me. So just know that even if you do lose people along the way, when you are on this journey of finding your truth, there's so much beauty and abundance, opportunities, new relationships, just like a whole new life waiting for you on the other side of it. And you have to trust that. Trust in that. So yeah, F their opinion. Do you? That's it. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for all the support on my channel. I think I just grew almost 200 subscribers, which is insane. And I'm so grateful. Like, truly, thank you everyone who has been supporting. I'm gonna keep putting out videos, and I'm just excited to continue building this community with you guys. And yeah, love ya. Okay, talk to you next episode. Bye.